Tom Walks. Tom, we've got 4 topics today that we want to discuss. That's the flooding in Tennessee, the severe storms in the northern plains, this week's flooding in Wisconsin, and the tropics and Invest 98L. So, Tom, thank you for being with us. Let's start with the Tennessee flooding. I know you were watching this along with me. What your sense was of what happened in Chattanooga?
Yeah, I mean, really horrific flooding in the Chattanooga area. So let's break this down. And Steve, you mentioned this area of low pressure, which is centered about southwest of Atlanta right now. And so that's creating what we call convergence, where the air is coming together. We're getting these showers and thunderstorms with torrential rainfall. There's a lot of moisture in the air, right? And so that moisture turns from water vapor, which is the gas form of water, into liquid. And when you have a lot of that moisture in the air, you get these torrential tropical downpours. And if they don't move a whole lot, then you get that flooding. There were water rescues in Chattanooga last night. Now, as of now, Chattanooga's looking better, which is good, at least for the time being. But again, the flooding reports have been really intense in the Chattanooga area from last night. Again, water rescues taking place there. It was the second wettest day on record in Chattanooga. Boy, does that put it into perspective. And that goes all the way back to the 1800s. So that really, again, puts everything into perspective there. Now, as we go forward in the southeast, things are going to gradually improve, which is certainly good news. It's going to be hot, but the flash flood watches that have been in effect for this region will gradually be expiring over the course of the next 12 to 24 hours in most areas. And that is as the low kind of drifts off to the east and we start to see the rain come to an end. The hope here tonight, and based on some of the latest data, is that we're seeing a lot of what we call diurnally driven thunderstorms today. That's a fancy term for meaning it pops up with the heating of the day, sun goes down, it gets less intense at night. So that's the hope tonight, as we see a gradual improvement in the rain intensity. And then here in the coming days, as you can see, it will start to improve. But yeah, Steve, it has been rough across parts of the southeast.
And Tom, we got a lot to jump into here, so I want to ask you now about what's happening up in the northern plains, the Dakotas, not only tonight, but then again another night of storms. So let's get into point number 2, the northern plains severe. What's your insight on what you're seeing right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot to go with here as well. So, Steve, you had mentioned that line of thunderstorms in the Rapid City area. And this is really interesting because we'll dive into the meteorology here of this, where dew points are in the 50s in Rapid City. What does that mean? That means humidity levels are not overly high. Dry air coming off of the mountainous terrain right onto the Dakotas. So what that means is the base of the thunderstorm is relatively high. Lower dew points, higher cloud bases. That's why they're seeing more wind than anything else in the western Dakotas. But as these storms move east, as our exclusive Fox model will show, it's going to enter an environment which has richer moisture or higher dew points that could continue the wind threat, possibly add a hail threat later tonight as well. Plus, you have what's called a low-level jet stream that's going to kick in the Dakotas as well. It's possible that these storms curve southeast and might make it all the way to Grand Island, Nebraska in the early overnight. But I'm not concerned for Lincoln. I'm not concerned for Omaha. So it will be on a gradual weakening trend as it rolls through Nebraska overnight. Now, tomorrow night, this is a bit of a different concern. Places like Fargo, Grand Forks, so the North Dakota, South Dakota border, and then northwest Minnesota. Instead of wind, which is what we're seeing tonight in the western Dakotas, these could be big-time hailers tomorrow with supercell thunderstorms. And that, in part, is because of more moisture in place as well in that region. So I think, again, the threat is a bit different for tomorrow in places, again, like Fargo, where we could be dealing with some big-time hail tomorrow night. So this whole region really needs to be on alert.
Yeah, and with all of this activity in the northern plains, it's got me concerned about you and your backyard, Tom. As we go through the checklist here, a big concern, Wisconsin flooding. That's point number 3. You guys had it over the weekend, early this week. What are your concerns? Is there any rain for those spots in Wisconsin that have river flooding?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, we had massive rain, up to 14 inches of rain in Milwaukee late Saturday night. Some of the worst flooding I have ever seen around here. Many people had 20 inches of water in their basements. I mean, really horrible flooding. Thankfully, we have dried things out. So the concern going forward are our rivers, our area rivers that are still high. But much like the southeast that's gradually improving, our river levels are gradually improving as well. But gradual is the key word. So as you know, you get a ton of rain, right? It's got to soak in and it's got to run off, and that takes time. So all of that water's got to move through the system. And I think by late in the week and into the weekend, we'll really start to improve. But yeah, we still have some water issues, especially in our local rivers, but things starting to look up in that department.
Tom, I've loved this Watch Wednesday. I like this new style, getting your insight on the big stories of the week. Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.